I sometimes write poems which are politically motivated. The great Chilean poet Pablo Neruda wrote "Yo explico algunas cosas," which means I'm explaining a few things. When people asked him why didn't he write about the volcanoes and the beautiful scenes in his native country of Chile, but he was living in Madrid at the time during the Spanish Civil War, and he said, I cannot write about those things because I'm in the middle of a war. And he finishes the long poem with the lines, come and see the blood in the streets. And sometimes the great powers play their war games in other people's countries in the form of proxy wars. And it's happening again now, it's always happening. And this one is called Here We Go Again, and I wrote it a few years back, but it's oddly enough, it's actually apt at the moment. It's time now to rise up and be counted. Fusty academics must go to the town square, chain themselves to the railings, be confronted, just like in the old days, ideals laid bare. For no one is reading their books, only themselves. The time is over for grumbling to one another. Our forefathers would have rolled up their sleeves to avoid a return to the gulag and the gas chamber. Fellow poets, hard-won inches are being lost in miles while you are counting your Facebook smiles. So here we go again in the post-crash parade. The crosshairs focused on a perceived villain by those who only know how to invade, who never knew the baby's cry in vain, who never knew the post-war toil, or the smell of blood spilt on their own soil. I inherited some land from my father some time ago, and I planted about 12 acres of oak trees and alder trees, and they're quite about 20 years ago now, so they're maturing really quickly, and it's a nice area for wildlife. And I also have 3 acres of seed for the birds, and I also have wildflower, a couple of fields of wildflower garden as well. It's part of a scheme that I joined there called the GLAS scheme, and it's good to help biodiversity because I suppose in rural Ireland most of the wildlife has been obliterated by pesticides and herbicides and all the things that we were told to use years ago to be more productive farmers. And so I think maybe if you have land, we have some obligation to respect nature and try and preserve what's left of our biodiversity. And so I've written a few poems about that. This one is called Dissident, and it's about climate refugees. And of course Europe will be subjected to climate change, and also refugees coming from poorer countries flooding into Europe, and we're all going to have to try and do something about that. And this poem is a visual image of a woman who was found dead beside a block of high-rise flats, and it's about the child who was looking for her mother. It's called Dissident. Can someone help me find my mum? 20 per minute displaced by war. Dogs pulled at her near the slum. 50 acres of trees lost per hour. 20 per minute displaced by war. Words were outsourced, trapped in spin. 50 acres of trees lost per hour. Tomorrow recycled from today's bin. Words were outsourced, trapped in spin. They made her absent from her presence. Tomorrow recycled from today's bin. The price she paid for acquiescence. They made her absent from her presence. Dogs pulled at her near the slum. The price she paid for acquiescence. Can someone help me find my mum?